Hello, everybody. This is Brandon V with the How to Fail Forward podcast. So this is our first episode. We are actually in the Applied Imaging offices today, along with my buddy here, Jim Fortier. Hi, Jim.
How are you?
Awesome. Thanks for coming in and meeting with us, having us by today. So I wanted to give a little bit of framework for what we're doing here. Some of the previous podcasts I've put out have given a little bit of an idea. So I'll start on this episode with a little bit about me and kind of what I'm doing. So Gary Vaynerchuk is a huge impact lately in my world, and so my intent here is to create a crowd that will listen to the content we're creating around failing forward, right? So I want to make something real for you, something relatable for you, and sort of expose a little bit more about who you and the cool things in your life and how you've come to where you are. That's huge for me. So to give a little bit of idea on why I'm doing this. So I'm very passionate about influencing, very passionate about helping others see the light, if you will. So I've had my failures, and everybody has their crap, right? Everybody has the things that they've been through. So as my story goes, I'll be very quick here, guys. So, I was, there are many other stories and scenarios that are much worse. So this isn't a woe is me situation. I want to provide some context so you guys understand why I'm doing this and why I'm so passionate about it. So I was born to a single mother. Actually, my father was around. He just wasn't around. You know what I mean? So I love you, Dad, now. The truth is, then he was abusive. He was not a good father in any way, shape, or form. To me, my mom, my brother, beat the tar out of us. There were some other circumstances. My mom was involved in some things. My dad was involved in some things. And as a result, I was a crazy, wild kid. Like, I had to make it through a week of school, hoping not to be in in-school suspension, right? So, I was terrible. I apologize to my mom all the time, especially that first 10 seconds home with my first kid. Mom, I'm so sorry. I love you so much. How did you put out with me? So, and then, I went through school. I straightened up a little bit. I went to college. I went to the Marine Corps. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I was acting a fool. I felt like I could act any way I wanted because I had that right. I went on to spend some time locked up. I was a dummy, and I paid the prices. I know what the floor meets the wall meets the commode looks like in a prison cell. I've been there, done that, right? I don't ever want to see that again. And coaching 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th in varsity lacrosse, I'm able to connect with these kids in a way that I think will help them. So what I'm intending to do here, there's a lot of people out there, Jim, that are going to listen to this that have an alcoholic parent, have an abusive parent, were born into the wrong situation to compel them forward, right? Our loved ones are always going to be the ones near us that are going to pull us back. Oh, that's hard. You can't do that. That's impossible. They'll laugh at our goals, right? And I want these listeners to know that, much like myself, I'm at a 5 where I want to be at a 10 in my life. So I'm no huge success story, right? I want to get that out there. Though I do know I don't ever have to see that world again because I know there's something better out there for me, right? Mm-hmm. And so today is everything to do with your story, your background, and some of your failures. So we had a little bit of chance to talk. I actually have a funny story about you from our vacation together. And so I'm curious. Tell me a little bit about your hurdles that you faced, your life story and where you stumbled and all of it. So tell me your life. Okay. Tell me your story. What's up?
So early on, I would say, like most kids, you go to elementary school, you go to high school, you graduate from high school, and the plan is to go to college.
Sure.
All your friends are going to go to college, and everybody's going to go to college.
Sure, that's a measure of success.
Absolutely.
20, 30 years ago.
You're going to go to college, and you're going to get a degree, and you're going to be a doctor, or a lawyer, or a fireman, or a police officer, or whatever that path might be. I didn't know what I wanted to be, but I knew all my friends were going to college, so I was going to go to college. So I went to college. I wouldn't say I failed miserably, but I did what most kids do when they go to college. Is I spent that first year starting a fraternity in a junior college where they didn't have fraternities, and we just had a bunch of buddies and we hang out all the time. And so I didn't really have any real path or direction that I was aware of anyway. So I spent some time dropping in and out of school, and I think the first thing that I would say about that is I don't think that's where people need to be today, and I don't think that our kids need to be there. And I know we still, as parents, and you have young ones, so
spring chicken parenting department right here.
Exactly. So having your kids graduate from high school, I don't feel like it's a necessary drive to get them to go to college. Even though I think nothing else, a 2-year degree is important. But I have 3 kids, 23, 22, and 18. So my youngest is a senior. All 3 are taking different paths. My oldest did exactly what I did, and he is, ironically, he is a mini me. And if he watches this
he will.
podcast,
In 20 years, he's going to be sitting in a pod in his apartment and virtual reality sitting in this meeting with us.
Yeah.
Like your great-great-great-grandchild is watching this video right now in a pod.
That would be super cool.
50 years from now.
That would be super cool.
It's real.
I'm looking forward to that, actually. So he's a mini me. We have the very same personalities, same temperament, and I believe in my heart that we have the same drive.
Okay.
He hasn't quite found his yet, but he's done the same things that I've done. So he's now working. He's got a great job. He's working for a great company. He manages a crew, but he's still not 100% sure what he wants to do. Mm-hmm. I took that same path, and I was fortunate enough 20-some years ago to meet my wife today, who had a little different vision of me, and saw what I was doing. And I was working in a warehouse, and I was loading trucks, and I was doing fine and paying bills, and I lived out on my own, and things were good. And then I got a little nudge. We were watching TV one day, and we saw a commercial for ITT Tech, and this is an advertisement for ITT Tech.
I remember him.
And she said, you ought to think about going into electronics because you're interested in that kind of stuff. And I thought, what the heck? So I worked from 6 in the morning till 4 at night, 4 in the afternoon every day, and I had class from 6 to 10 at ITT Tech.
Okay.
I took a 2-year class and got a degree in electronics engineering. Graduated and got right into the industry that I'm in today, and I service office equipment.
Right.
It was great. It was a direction that I never saw myself going in.
That's how it ends. I mean, let's face it, reality, that's how it turns out for a lot of people, which is why I don't know that I see a huge point in going and getting that degree that you could go and just bounce your head off the wall and fail at for 4 years and know so much more.
Right.
But let's if you will, let's back up real quick because many people are going to assume they see you like I don't know what you're driving. Maybe you're driving a sick car. You got a nice watch on. Like you got a nice, probably nice house. Or probably people that look at you and think, oh, this guy was born with a spoon in his mouth. An account at 1 year old, and had all these abilities and rights given to him. Like that's not the case, right?
No, I come from a very humble. My dad worked 2 and 3 jobs to put us through parochial school, Catholic school.
Okay.
That was a big focus in my family. Faith and family are the most important things in my life,
right?
And in my family's life.
So he's working this much. Was there any animosity as a child that you had to overcome later about him not being around or missing this event or that event, and a respect you have for him now due to what he was doing and why?
The drive that he had to give us what we had was my mother didn't work,
okay.
So my mother stayed home. So he had to work that much harder to give us food on the table and allow us to be able to play sports and do Little League, and they were at everything that they could be at.
Brothers and sisters?
I have an older brother and 2 younger sisters.
Okay, 4 of you. Okay.
Yeah, so there's 4 of us. And it was tough because there were 3 of us in high school at the same time. And
right.
Tuition back in the day today it's not cheap. Back then, imagine 3 kids going through Catholic school.
Right.
It's a burden. It's a choice. It's a life choice. I make that very same choice, and I've made that same choice for all 3 of my kids. And it's hard. By no means is it easy. You make sacrifices. We've made sacrifices. If there's ever an argument, I assume with my folks was the same. It is with our family and probably most families. If there's ever an argument, it's usually about money. Can't afford that, or we can't afford to do this, or we want to do this, but we can't afford. So those things are all real. I've been super fortunate to get into I work for Applied Imaging now.
Right.
And
if you don't know, you better ask somebody because Applied is the bomb.
Yeah, we are the bomb. It's probably one of the greatest companies to work for.
Yeah. My wife works here too, people, by the way.
Largest independently owned office machine and most respected office machine dealer in the Midwest. And we will be. If we're not already, we're trending towards that. And we're not getting there by...
being safe.
Well, by just selling office stuff. The vision behind this company lines up really well with what I do in my life. And it's faith, family, friends, and then work. But if you have those other three, the work comes easy. So back to my kids, they have to love what they do, and if you love what you do, it's not work. So no, I wasn't born. I came into this job and I didn't have any accounts.
Okay.
I worked my tail off. And
let's frame that though. Like, what is work your tail off?
So
right, because is work your tail off, come in at 10 minutes late and leave 10 minutes early, 5 days a week, and that's it?
No, and I'm in sales. So I by the way transitioned out of service.
Right.
Coming to work for Applied Imaging, he wasn't hiring service technicians, so I became a salesman. He talked me into it.
So
whole new thing in my life is to sell.
So what was your 10% different? Right? Like when you do something 10% different than the next guy to stand out, especially starting off, do you remember if there was anything in particular that you did or drove you in those especially those first 3 months when you had just that 3-month guarantee?
It's the hardest job in the world. It is the hardest job in the world to sell, especially today because there's so much competition. But even back then, there's so much competition and everybody's doing the same thing.
Right.
So for me to be different, I think because I was in service, I was not trying to sell anything ever. I was never asking people, I wasn't going up to people saying, "Can I see your pen? I've got this really cool pen." And it, it's a ballpoint, and it, you click it.
Sure, features.
I never ever did that.
Okay.
That just wasn't my way.
Okay.
I today still am. Tell me what kind of pen you're looking for. What are you looking for in a pen? How would you like it to
Why
be?
is that important? Okay.
So I've always been more about
relationship.
What it is that you're looking to do, and how can I help you get there?
Okay.
And in a lot of cases, it's not my solution, which is the best part about it. Is it's me trying to help you find a way to get to where you want to be. And that's been my difference for 25, 23 years here at Applied Imaging is, and it's not always been easy.
Right, and that's what I was about to go. I mean, it's not like, so you've been pretty fortunate that you haven't had a whole lot of hard times in your comeuppance, right? And so let's pick something. If there was one example, a part of your backstory, an embarrassment, like one of the hardest things that you had to overcome, either personally, professionally, that was a turning point for you in your life. Is there anything you can think of there?
I was trying to think about like a big fail, like where I may have failed.
Yeah. Listen up, listeners.
And I can't remember the account, but there was a time where I had made a sale to a client of mine that I had made a recommendation based on what I felt was the right choice.
Okay.
And it was a massive fail.
Why?
The client was dissatisfied with the performance of the equipment. It just didn't fit what their needs were. And either I didn't hear them clearly or I didn't ask the right questions. But it was a big fail. And it was a big learning experience for me in two ways. One, I was able to learn humility and being humble, and I screwed up. That
Owning
was a hard thing to own.
Owning it, yeah.
But then I also learned, and this was a long time ago, by the way. This isn't any time. This is probably 15 to 18 years ago.
Okay.
So it's long enough ago that I've learned so much since then, but I've never made the same mistake again. But I also learned a lot about the company that I worked for at the time. And they backed me up 100%. And they were able to make everything right by that client. And they refunded the customer, and the client is still a client today. And it's not anything but to fall flat on my face and have to go to my boss and say I made a mistake. Was a really hard thing to do.
Yeah, hard.
Very humbling to do.
Absolutely.
I'm the expert.
Ostensibly, we're the experts, right?
Right. So that was a big fail. I think back at raising kids. Boy, there's probably a million times that I failed. You have a family and you have kids, and you try to make the right choices as often as you can. You take the phone away, you take their car away, you hope they make good choices when you do let them go. I can't pinpoint anyone on my family side that I failed.
Let's go back to college, right? Because I think you said you went to college, failed out, went back, failed out again.
Yeah, that was
there's some big stories in there, my friend. There's got to be some laughs in there too, involving alcohol or something like that.
Yeah, you're not getting that on the podcast.
Yeah, we can cut that out. So, how did that happen, and what drove you to give it another shot?
I really think I wanted to be free.
Free of the rigmarole, the rules,
the rules. I wanted to get out of the house and I wanted to be on my own. And school, I thought, it's college. I can do what I want. Mm-hmm. So I would come and go as I please, and I made bad choices.
But you were commuting from home for school?
I was for a while.
Okay.
And then I moved out with some buddies, and then you live with your friends, and your mom probably says a rosary a night, so that, praying for your safety. I'm sure I put my folks through some real struggles.
Sure.
And,
so how'd you feel? Did you not go to class? Did you just skip tests?
Yeah, I mean...
Just blew it. Just punted everything.
Just punted everything. I mean, right. I didn't go to class. Even when I went to class, I wasn't engaged.
Okay.
But I wasn't interested.
Why?
It wasn't something I wanted to do. I didn't want to be told.
Okay.
I didn't want to be told I had to study. I didn't want to be told I needed to get this degree because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was basically going to school because everybody went to school.
Because everybody, right? So we all do that. Like that. This is something big Gary talks about. Like whoever it is, if it's your parents, it's your sister, it's your friends, like we're all doing, like, why are we doing college? Why are we doing these other things? It's not just specifically college, but, things that.
Why do we do what we do?
Because we're worried about what other people are going to think.
Sure.
And our parents influence us to do certain things many times because they're worried about what their neighbors and their friends and all these other people are going to think or associate them with based on what their kids are or aren't doing. And
there could be some of that. Sure.
Yeah. So what made you go?
My wife made me go back. I was out for 2 years. I mean, I didn't go back to school, so I graduated in 1986.
From high school?
High school. So 87, 88, 89. I would say 89 to 90, that semester in between 89 and 90. In 89 is when I went back to ITT Tech. So I got that little nudge from my wife watching a TV commercial of ITT Tech, electronics engineering. And I've always been a tinkerer. I would get a watch you get a watch. And I thought, okay, that's super cool. I got that for Christmas. I'm going to take it apart.
Take it apart.
I want to see how this thing works. And that was me. That was what I had.
Okay.
In my life I was a tinkerer. So I thought, okay, engineering, I can do that.
All right, so I want to make sure I'm clear. So you went after high school, you did the college thing, you
got a job,
failed out of college, and then went to ITT, or you went back to college a second time before ITT?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I went.
All right.
I was at community college. And,
gotcha.
I dropped out. I went in for half a year and I dropped out. I did go back for another semester and dropped back out and realized college, it wasn't going to be for me. So
the second time around, ITT, you've met your wife. She nudged you. Do you have any children at this point?
No.
Okay. No, so you said the catalyst that really...
We were dating at the time.
Just dating,
She just wasn't going to marry me if I wasn't at least
some direction.
Focus in my life, a direction for myself. So
and that was enough for you.
That was enough for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it truly was the very first stepping stone into my future here at Applied Imaging.
Yeah.
Because without that degree, I wouldn't have gotten this job in sales.
Right.
So
awesome.
I owe a lot to it.
Yeah.
And her.
I have a similar story. I mean, So I mentioned I spent my times in institutions and jails, right? I mean, and I got involved in the wrong walks of life, and I shouldn't have made it out a number of times. And so when I changed my life, literally, when I got out, within weeks, I met Jessica.
Okay.
And she has been, since then, my rock. Right?
We all need one.
And yeah.
I'm convinced.
Now there are plenty of people out there that don't have, let's say, the looks or the physique or the character or the charm to go and find them. They're limiting beliefs. I'm not this, or I'm not good enough. I'm not this to find me a good girl who will take care of me, right? There's plenty of us out there that think that way. Obviously, that's not true, right?
Very untrue.
So when you find when you find yourself frustrated or caught up in something or overwhelmed or confused, like, is there a process that you take internally to remind yourself of where you've been and what you've come through to know you can still do this now, whatever that is?
I think the biggest thing for me is when I run into some rough times, even in my day-to-day, where I start to question maybe where I'm at or where I wanted to be or where I want to be now. Because obviously for me, I'm always I have goals. I have where I want to be in 10 years, where I want to be in 5 years. I kind of know what those things are, and if I'm not achieving those things quick enough, I always I got to go back to my rock. So I go back to my wife and we talk about it, and I explain where I am. And I've been very fortunate that she has been very open to whatever decisions I've ever decided to make.
Tabling them and just ironing it out.
Whatever I want to do.
Sure.
She'll back me because she knows in the end of the day, as long as we stick together, and it's a team approach to my life, it's a team approach to the kids, and it's a team approach to work. Because if she's not happy with what I'm doing, then I have a hard time being happy with it. But she's always going to back whatever I do. So that's the process that I go through.
Sure.
Is when I'm struggling, I go back to the basics. We had nothing. We couldn't pay bills. We had, when we started having kids and started having a family, I was a service technician making $6.25 an hour.
Yeah.
That was my income.
Yeah.
It was not a lot of money. With 2 kids and a house payment, and
Man.
You get to the end of every month and you lay them out and you go, I'll pay that one, pay part of that one, and maybe that one.
Yeah.
Oh, that one's going to have to wait.
Yeah.
And you try to get through and you struggle, and so we go back to that and go, okay, look how fortunate we are today, and I'm very fortunate in what we have today. But I'll never take this for granted because I know where I came from and how I got to here. And I drive a 2014 Chevy Impala.
Yeah.
It's a nice car. It's an A to B. It's transportation.
Yeah.
It gets me where I don't need. The stuff is not as important as what's come with the stuff is.
Right.
Putting my kids through school and helping them through college and
Of course.
their futures. So
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to quote Gary too much, though. All he talks about is legacy, 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 right?
Yeah.
It sounds like you should listen to him a little bit. I think
going to.
you really dig his
Yeah,
stuff.
and I apologize. I didn't.
Don't apologize. No, don't.
But I'm going to, because truly, that's to me is what do I leave behind, and what did I do as an example to whoever's behind
Yeah.
me, either at work or at home,
Yeah.
to leave a footprint, leave my fingerprint on things. So.
Well, so now here you are. I'm sorry?
I'm hoping I'm leaving one.
Yes. Well, if you're making the effort in the right ways with the right people, you are.
Okay.
Yeah, I imagine.
Find out after.
Yeah, we'll find out.
See all this.
So here you are. You're at this point. It's very easy. So there are people who get to that milestone of, I make 6 figures, right? And then they either stay there because that's all they ever rooted for or all they ever aspired to, and then they're okay in that. And then there are those that hit that 6-figure mark or whatever their mark is, and they look up and realize there are people that are doing 100 times more, and that is not enough for them anymore, and they know they still need to grow and grind. Right. So where are you in that? Are you right where you want to be? And I heard you say you had goals, 5 years,
Yeah.
So did you tell yourself at some point, I need to keep going, this isn't enough? And why? Why did you decide to keep pushing? So are you pushing for more
Yes.
in your world?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you not become stagnant at your success level and get full of yourself? Right. And I love that you said stuff isn't important, because that's one of the things that stuffs us when we get to that, when we just fill it with stuff and we feel great. Why are you still going to push to raise your levels? Why?
So I've been with Applied Imaging for it'll be 23 years this summer. So when I got to about 19 years, I started to feel that complacency.
20 years, people. He put in for 20 years. So when you're starting a business and you're 2 years in and you're grinding and complaining that nobody's paying attention, this man did it for 20 years, right? So there's a huge lesson in that.
And I worked so hard in that. And my goal it's never been a financial goal. So I'm not driven by money.
Okay.
Which is, I think, for me and for most people, I think it should be a very strong trait. Is if you're not driven by money and you're driven by other goals, I'm driven by success more than I am money. And you put a correlation to the two, but the success that I'm driven by is the growth of our team, the growth of our sales as a company, Those things are what I'm driven by, because the bigger we get and the more people know and understand who we are and who I am at Applied Imaging, and when people come in the door that are maybe working with other salespeople in our company and they know me or they remember me from 10 years ago when I was their representative for their technology. So I got complacent after about 19 to 20 years.
Okay.
And I started to think, what's my next step? What do I do? What's going to be different? How do I get that drive back? How do I get that? I want to do more. How do I do more? So I was able to transition into a different role in this company, and now I sell a different production print product that we sell as a company, and I can now overlay the different teams that I work with. So instead of just selling for myself today, I actually work with 3 different sales teams throughout Applied Imaging and throughout the state, and their opportunities and their sales opportunities. So it's a chance for me to not only continue to grow that part of our business and sell the production. What's that?
And give back.
And give back. Really, in that respect, I can help the younger sales guys, or even just veteran sales guys, grow their business. And all of a sudden now I'm helping them meet their goals.
And avoid some of the pitfalls and all that, right? So there's that giver part of you talked about
absolutely,
before.
Absolutely. For me, that's the most, now it's even more rewarding than it was before. When I can hit a number at the end of the year and do really well from a sales number revenue standpoint, but know that maybe 10 or 15 people were impacted by that as well.
Right.
And they all got to a certain number because of that extra drive that I'm trying to help them with. And it puts them to another plateau.
Yeah.
And now they're reaching their levels that they're looking to get to. So everybody kind of comes together.
Yeah. Our team and 7,000 other Keller Williams agents went to Houston right after the big problem down there, right after the hurricane and the flooding. And we were down there demucking houses, hazmat suits, running out the front door, throwing up 5 seconds after walking in these houses full of 8 feet of water, sewage water for 10 days in Texas heat. Like, it was bad.
Wow, I can't even imagine.
And
I saw it on TV.
It was unbelievable. And there's a guy within Keller Williams named Ben Kinney. And Ben was a cable installer at one point and came across a book that was given to him by somebody he was installing, or some story. And so he took it and he applied everything, and less than 10 years later, this guy's almost a billionaire. Okay, so there's the setting. He made a video when the day was over, and he said, "I need to make more money." And I remember being a little put back, like, "What do you mean, bro? Like, you're almost a billionaire." And he said, "I can't help every 100,000 victims with a new home. And when I say I'm happy with my income, like, there are people who work for me and with me. And if I say I'm happy with what I'm making, that means that I'm happy with what they're making, right?" And so that was huge for me.
It's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, so here's this guy, this billionaire almost, who's saying he's compelled to make more because he doesn't have enough to help everybody. And not everybody's motive is to help that many people. I would freaking love to stroke $1 million check and donate it to the people of Houston and let them, you know what I mean?
Oh,
so that's great that you said it like that. That's that giver.
Yeah,
and that's what
I think a lot of people are that way. I think most people are that way. They might not know it yet.
And even if they do, not everybody acts on it.
Yeah,
Jim,
I mean, if you don't feel like you're in a position to be able to do something like that, but you can always put yourself in that position in any role. If you're loading trucks in a warehouse for a company, you can impact other people where you're working, and you can help other people. You just got to find it. There's always an opportunity to do something good for somebody. You just need to be aware of it and look for it.
Maybe you'll agree, like, what's sad to me, though, is that it's becoming more and more socially unacceptable, at least initially, for you to look to your left or right on an elevator or on a bus or anywhere in a social setting and introduce yourself and make a friend.
Yeah.
To the left or right. Everybody's more involved with, hey, phones are okay, right? Let's face it, it's 2018. Phones are a big part of our life. Like, it's not going anywhere, right? But I think there's beauty, there's gold in them. There are hills to your left and right on the bus and at the theater or anywhere, in making contact with others to help them. So
Yeah, that's a scary thing to do.
It is. It is, and it's necessary. It's so necessary, especially more and more so now. I think, and you would agree, with our affinity to be here instead of making connections with people. So awesome.
Just sit in your living room and watch TV. Is your phone right next to you, or isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sure it is.
There's a funny story. We were in Georgia, just north of Jacksonville, for a vacation on President's Club. My wife was invited, and so I have a business card that's a little bit thick stock, and so I gave Jim my card. And the next day he came to me and he said, "You already got me in trouble with my wife." So his wife needed to go back to the room. He reached in his pocket and took out a card and gave it to her. And then I guess a few minutes later, she called or came yelling or said, "This isn't."
I can't. Yeah, it was. We were out. Yeah, so it was late.
Yeah,
it was.
It was dark.
She was. Yeah. So we stayed out. Mm-hmm. She was going back to the room, and Brandon told me to give her my key to the room so she could get into the room. And somehow his business card fell. So, long story short, she was sitting on the curb waiting for me when I got back and it took me a while to find her because it was a pretty curvy resort. So anyway, yes, that was
good times.
That was a funny story.
Yeah,
I felt terrible.
I know, me too. I'm not changing my card stock.
Yeah, you kind of need to, or I gotta keep them in different pockets.
Is there so? I really wanted to make a connection for you with your clients. Is there, and potential clients, is there anything about you that, or your drive? Oh, here's a question. So, ready? If you could put a billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say and why?
I would probably, honestly.
No, lie to me.
This is what I would do. I would put a picture. I would put a picture of myself on there with my business information or whatever, and I would just have a question on there. What's your why? And then call whatever or email. I'd love to share mine with you.
Okay, I like it.
Because I think a lot of people don't think about why they do what they do.
They're just on autopilot.
They're just on autopilot. You get up in the morning, you go to work, you do your job, you get down, you come home, and if you took a minute to sit down and think about your why you get up in the morning and why you do what you do, and I have thought about this long before you called me for this meeting.
Yeah.
It's about taking care of other people and helping people get to where they want to be with their businesses, with the technologies that I sell and the services that I can provide. So my why is really, it's the help of helping others get to their goals. And if I can do those things, then I can achieve all of mine.
Yeah, but Jim, that's so cliche.
It sure is.
It
is.
Yeah.
It's insane. But I would venture to guess if you asked any person that works for Applied Imaging who I am, that's who they would tell you I would be.
Nice.
So this isn't something I think I started it and everybody else made it cliche. It was here before. It was instilled in me, and that's through my father. My father's been about others for all of his life.
Are your parents from? Are they from the United States?
Yeah.
Born? Okay.
Born, yeah. My mother's born in Texas. My dad's born here.
All right. Where in Texas?
Edinburgh.
Okay.
South of McAllen.
Dallas. Oh, that's down there. Way down there.
Yeah, and so they live there now.
Okay.
And then they summer up here when it's nice here. So that's been his thing, is always helping others. And he was a man of few words, but actually he was very talkative. That's where I get that too. But he was always, there to help somebody.
Okay.
So I can help people in other ways. I literally can help people if I figure out what it is their needs are, from a printing's perspective and just business in general. I think I can help them do better at that in their lives and make more money and be profitable. So,
all right.
And then if I'm not the guy, I know people because I know a lot of people.
I know. I tell people all the time when I'm on the phone with them, I'm your connection guy. You need a transmission guy. You need a diamond guy for the bride. What do you need?
You need a tire guy? I got a guy. You need a battery guy? I got a guy. You need a body guy? I got a guy. So I'm a good guy to know because I can help you get to where you need to be with whatever it is you need.
All right. All right, so you have 3 children. They're going out in the world. They're learning how to bump their heads. We have some, maybe we don't have a single viewer. Maybe in 5 years we have 5 million watching this video. Who knows? What would be one of the best things you would say to somebody that's leaving college or leaving high school and going out into the world on how to fail forward for real?
Follow your dream. And if it's not college, try it.
Okay.
If it's you want to be a welder, go weld.
All right.
If you want to be construction, go do construction.
But what if but mom and dad don't want that? Mom and dad want you to take over a business. Mom and dad want you to go to college. Your brother wants you to go to the same college. You don't. You still go and be a welder?
Yeah, that's a tough one. It is. I think don't be. It's hard to go against the grain. It's obviously hard to go against other people's wishes. But if you want to be 23 years with the same company, or you want to run your own business for 23 years and enjoy it, you better know what you want to do. And you might not always get that answer in college. You might need to hit your head against the wall in a construction job or a welding job. So, and if you're going to fail, it's way better to fail in that first 4 years of your life than it is in the last 4 years of your life. My 23-year-old who's trying to figure out what he wants to do with himself is failing in the right time in his life, because he's not, his risk reward.
He's in his 20s, right?
Yeah.
He has 75 plus years to go.
Yeah.
By the time he's 90, people can be living until they're 130.
Sure.
Because so much time.
Yeah, he's got lots of time to figure out. So he's doing it the right way. My daughter's a nurse, and my last one doesn't know what he's going to do yet because he's going to graduate this year. But whatever he decides to do, he's going to be great.
All right. So I want to give one last bit of humanity, something about you. So let's talk about a funny experience. You've got to have something funny that you did, an embarrassment.
Well, that was embarrassing as all get out with my wife and your business card.
Yeah.
Back in November. That was funny, and not funny because she was very disappointed in me. Another funny story of mine, really.
Yeah.
All right, let me think here for a minute. Okay, this isn't embarrassing because I think most guys, but my Monday nights consist of, so last night you texted me or sent me a note and said, do you have a minute now? And it was 8 o'clock or 8:30.
You said no. Yeah.
I said, no, now's not a good time, whatever.
Yeah, it's fine.
You were cool with that. So I like to open a bottle of wine and turn on The Bachelor.
I knew it was coming. I was going to say.
My wife and I sit and watch The Bachelor on Monday night. We're kind of, we're not, what do they call it? The reality TV shows?
Yeah.
We're not reality TV show junkies, but we're
still
into The Bachelor.
All right. Does she look at you sometimes and do you feel that look like, why don't you do that for me or say that to me? The romantic things that are being done.
Oh, yeah,
it's funny.
yeah. Or she'll look and smile at me when I do. Yeah, there's a lot of that.
All right.
Yeah, and my buddies all make fun of me and they all joke around about it. And
That's all right.
Yeah, so now this will be out there for 100 years. And everyone's aware of that.
Hey, I'll give you something. We do the same thing. We get pumped when Vanderpump is on.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And we get pumped when the new one, Relationship.
Oh, yeah.
We laugh. We love it.
Some of them are pretty bad, reality shows, but
awesome.
Yeah, The Bachelor's pretty bad too. It's pretty corny. Anyway, that's my very embarrassing moment in my life.
That's cool.
That I watch every Monday night.
Awesome. Well, hey, I think that's great. Thank you so much for taking this time to talk with us about this. Like, any other professional advice for the 8-year-old, the 9-year-old that wants to start a business online and is going to get beat up left and right? What would you say to those guys?
I'd say you're going to get a lot of no's before you're going to get yeses. And,
oh yeah.
Part of growing as a person is being able to take the no's and learn from them and apply them to the next one.
Does the market give a crap about your background?
They don't give a crap about you in most cases. They do. People are sensitive to who you are, but at the end of the day, they have a need and they don't care what.
Yeah, if you can fill it, if you can.
Minutia's out there.
Yeah.
They're looking for somebody to help them fill their need.
Yeah.
And really, the cheapest way they can get it done.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and that's through no fault of anyone. That's just human nature. I want the cheapest, best deal that I can get.
Best value, best benefits and features for the least amount of money.
Right. So try to find a way to bring value, and
there we go.
people will respect you, and they'll be more apt to work with you if you really can bring some kind of a value.
It's true. It's true.
That's what I try to do.
Well, thank you for doing this with me.
Absolutely.
I hope this helps bring you some, some recognition with your people out there that maybe don't know much about you or haven't taken the time to ask about you and your past. So this has been great. Thank you.
It's been great. I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes.
Awesome. All right. Well, my name is Brandon Vidal. I'm with the Lucas Howard Group, Keller Williams North. I have to put a little plug in there so you know who I am and what I do. I will never promote myself or anything like that here. This is all about giving value and adding value to your world. So, hey, we'll wrap it all up and we'll edit it and get you out there for everyone to see.
Awesome.
All right. Share it with you, Jim.
Appreciate
Thanks so much, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. All right. Next vacation next year.